During a meeting of the Home Affairs Select Committee, Tim Loughton MP confronts Sophie Linden, London Deputy Mayor for Policing and Crime, over the appalling state of affairs at the Met Police. In today's video, we will discuss this whilst also going over all of the latest British political news from the last 24 hours. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all things Westminster. So as stated in the intro, during a meeting of the Home Affairs Select Committee, Tim Loughton MP confronts Sophie Linden, London Deputy Mayor for Policing and Crime, over the appalling state of affairs at the Met Police. Have a watch.
35,000 serving officers to carry on the point that's previously been made. And Sir Mark Rayleigh said about 3,000 Met Police officers are not properly deployable. So it's almost 10% due to concerns over their health or their performance. There's reportedly another 500 officers suspended or on restricted duties because they've been accused of serious misconduct. And Mark Rowley told the BBC that 100 officers are on very restrictive conditions, quote, because they can't be trusted to talk to members of the public. And then we've got 1,000 or so who are being investigated, and there's absolutely no way that those full investigations are going to be completed by the end of this month. So, regardless of austerity measures, about 10% of the manpower of the Met isn't actually able to be proper police officers. That's an appalling indictment of where they are. How did it get to that?
There hasn't been a clear enough grip on what is happening. There hasn't been a clear enough grip on HR procedures. So some of those officers that are not deployable will be officers who quite rightly have been, taken off frontline duties because some of them will have been injured in the line of duty. The question is how quickly...
Small part of it. So, but all of it...
The question is how quickly they could be returned.
You keep referring to they. Is any of this your fault?
I think in terms of the role of myself and the Mayor, we have been very clear for a number of years that the Metropolitan Police needed to change and to reform. We have done the oversight and the scrutiny. We have laid out there in terms of reports and the dashboards that we publish what is happening within the Met.
But is any of this your fault?
Take responsibility. I would take responsibility. If we did not know what was happening within the Metropolitan Police, I would take responsibility for that. We knew that there were significant problems. We did the oversight. So, for example, on victim satisfaction and victim care, which is one of the key elements of the reasons that the Metropolitan Police is engaged, we have published victim satisfaction surveys.
You keep going about what you've published and all your victim surveys. Is any of this actually your fault?
The reasons that the Metropolitan Police are in special measures is from the poor leadership and the management. So
you're responsible for the leadership of the Met.
Responsible for the oversight and the accountability and holding to account. And
none of this is your fault.
I and the Mayor have been robust in our in holding the Metropolitan Police to account. We got to the point where
Let
we
me ask
knew
one practical question.
wasn't...
If you're not going to say whether it's your fault or not. One practical question: how often do you go and visit a police station in the Met area?
I try to visit the front line or go on visits to the Metropolitan Police at least once a week.
You all go out on patrol with ordinary officers
Not
on a regular
just on
basis?
not just on patrol. I visit specialist command units.
What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. In other news, British nationals have slammed the government over the upcoming budget, with one pleading with Rachel Reeves not to crucify her disabled son by slapping VAT on his private schooling as Brits scramble to protect their cash. Threatening to flee the UK, worried mum Sarah said, "I've thought several times about leaving the country, but I have my son here in private school. He has special educational needs and disabilities." Asked whether the planned 20% VAT increase to private school fees would affect her son's education, she retorted, "I have to consider that he is in his GCSE year, so what am I going to do? Pull him out in January before his GCSES? He's going to tank. I can't do that. I've got to find the money." The mother had a scathing message for the Chancellor. "Don't do it. Apply VAT to private school fees. You're crucifying a child who will actually produce great results for this country. He's British, and he wants to get a good job. He wants to get A-levels and go on to university. He wants to contribute, dare I say, to economic growth. If you continue this, he will suffer as a result. This is not about equality. This is about damaging children who are already in education. I have chosen to spend my money on privately educating him, and I should not be condemned for that. British viewers assembled to watch Kemi Badenoch and Robert Jenrick battle it out for the Tory leadership at Thursday night's televised hustings, shared Sarah's anxiety as a slew of taxes are mooted for increases: capital gains, stamp duty, employer national insurance contributions and more. The Prime Minister asserts taxes will not be raised on working people, though some floated for increase would apply to those in employment. Tax advisor Claire told the People's Channel the ambiguity has left her clients scrambling to take evasive action before the budget comes in. I'm looking forward to it being over and knowing what the outcome is, because there is so much speculation. The whole thing has been febrile for the last 2 months. People are reading newspapers and taking evasive action they might not even need to take. Asked whether her clients seem anxious, she said, "Absolutely." On whether this government will be successful in fixing Britain's economy, the tax expert added, "Based on the first 100 days, I doubt it." The panic comes as the UK is set to lose the largest amount of millionaires of any country over the next 4 years due to high rates and an overall unease about the economy. The Chancellor has promised to focus on economic growth, but Nationals were adamant tax rises would serve only to suffocate innovation. Increasing taxes has never ever been a good policy. A low tax policy is what boosts the economy and brings in investment. 30% of millionaires are going to leave the UK. That's appalling, said an exasperated Sam, who pinned his hopes on Robert Jenrick to lead the Tories into the next election and usurp Labour from No 10. Student Russ, who also supports Robert Jenrick, was scathing in his assessment of the Chancellor. "I don't trust them at all. The only thing that might be positive is that Labour might end up doing nothing in government because they have no ideas." Asked to sum up the Chancellor in one word, he smirked. Luck. She was lucky to get there. It was Dave, a lifelong Tory voter, who summed up the prevailing mood. "We're looking forward with horror." Appeals to Labour to rethink the VAT levy on private school fees appear to have been ignored. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson confirmed to GB News it was still going ahead. It will come into force in January 2025. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer would not be drawn on other tax or spending policies when questioned by journalists on Friday. "I'm not going to preempt the individual measures that would be outlined by the Chancellor. Labour's first budget since 2010 will be announced on the 30th of October. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British political content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.